All right, hello geometry students. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and look at some more probability. In this case, we're going to look at dependent events. Dependent event is when the first trial affects the probability of the second event happening. Okay, so like if you deal from a deck of cards, when you deal out this, there are fewer cards as you continue to deal cards. Okay, so this will affect the probability of something happening. Or another common example we'll look at is like a bag of marbles, where we take out a marble after choosing one. We don't replace it. Okay, so when we're doing dependent events, we are not replacing what we pull out in the first trial. Okay, so here I have an example. What is the probability of, in a deck of cards, drawing 2 red cards? And this would be without replacement. Well, if we look at the probability, basically it's very similar to the probability with an AND statement. We find each probability and we multiply them. So what's the probability that the first card is red and the second one's red? So we'll then times it by the probability that the second one is red. Okay. The difference here is I'm not going to be replacing cards. So when I do the first time, the probability of being red, there's 26 red cards out of 52 total cards. However, when I do the second trial, there's only 25 red cards because I have to assume that the first one was red. And then there's only 51 cards left in the deck. So I do the probability of the first one times the probability of the second one. And we notice the number of red cards decreased, but so did the number of total cards. So we just take those two and we multiply them, and we'd find out that the probability is about 0.245. Okay? Let's go on to example 2. In example 2, I have a bag of marbles. It contains 5 red marbles, 7 green marbles, and 10 purple marbles. What is the probability of reaching into the bag and getting 2 purple marbles without replacing? Okay, so in this case, I have 5 red, 7 green, 10 purple. If I add all those up, I have 22 marbles. Okay, so what is the probability that the first one is purple? So probability the first one is purple times, and then I'll times that times the probability that the second one is purple. Okay, so the probability the first one is purple, there are 10 purple marbles in the bag out of a total of 22 marbles. Well, what's the probability the second one is purple? Well, if the first one was purple, there's now only going to be 9 purple marbles, not 10. And instead of there being 22 marbles in the bag, there are now only 21. So if I do 10 divided by 22 times 9 divided by 21, I would get my answer. And here I'm getting 0.1948. So 0.19, the 48 will round up to a 5. So I get a 0.195 as my probability. All right, let's try a couple more examples. Okay. On example 3, what is the probability of picking a card less than a 5 from a deck of cards, and then, without replacing the selecting card, and selecting another card less than a 5? So in a deck, we have ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. We have hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. And we have that for all of them. So how many cards are less than a 5? Well, there's 4 hearts, 4 diamonds, 4 clubs, and 4 spades. So there are 16 cards that are less than a 5 out of a total 50 cards in the deck. So that's the probability that the first one is less than a 5. Well, what's the probability the second one is less than a 5? Well, if I do one trial and the first one is less than a 5, I no longer have 16 cards less than a 5, and there I have only 15. There are no longer 52 cards in the deck, there's only 51. So I'm going to do 16 divided by 52 times 15 divided by 51. And once I get that, I get 0.0904. So about 0.09, I have 0.4. The 4 tells me I'll keep that as a 0. So my probability is 0.090 as a probability. All right, let's go on to example 4. What is the probability of selecting 3 cards from a deck without replacing and all 3 cards are diamonds? So what's the probability the first one's a diamond? And then I want to times that by the probability the second one is a diamond. And I want to times that by the probability that the third one is a diamond. Okay, so in a deck of cards, there are 13 diamonds out of the total 52 cards. That's the probability the first one's a diamond. What's the probability the second one is? Well, if the first one was a diamond, I now only have 12 diamonds remaining in the deck and only 51 cards in there. Each of those decreased by 1. What's the probability the third one is? Well, I now selected 2 diamonds. Now there's only 11 left in the deck out of a total of 50 cards. So now I just multiply those. 13 divided by 52 times 12 divided by 51 times 11 divided by 50. And I'm getting a probability of 0.0129. That 9 will round up the 2 to a 3. So 0.013 is my probability.